Both the United States and Israeli intelligence have now officially concluded that the Iran war will not lead to regime change, which is exactly what Charlie Kirk had predicted prior to his passing. Here he is less than a year.
Welcome back, folks, and buckle up. We're diving deep into some truly explosive claims today, straight from the horse's mouth, or rather, should I say, the donkey's mouth, if you listen to some of these political experts. We're talking about the real motives behind the Middle East chaos, the staggering cost to American taxpayers, and whether our allies are actually, well, let's just say, are they our allies? Get ready because we're about to hear what might just make your head explode, and not in a fun fireworks kind of way. Let's roll the tape.
If this is a big if bombing Fordo can't permanently destroy the nuclear program, will advocates of a limited intervention pivot to immediately demanding a full regime change war? Because a lot of people are calling for regime change right now. Lindsey Graham, James Lankford, Tom Tillis. What does that even look like? Here's a big one, because you better believe the intel community has done this. They run these war games. One of the most important questions that we deserve an answer to: what are the refugee estimates of such regime change? 1 million? 5 million? It was 6 million in Syria. Who is most likely to take power next? If the Ayatollah is taken out, who's the front runner? Who's the Kalshi Poly Market odds-on favorite for being the successor to the Ayatollah? What do we know about him? Is he more moderate? Is he younger? Is he more religious? Is he more radical? It's Mojtaba Khamenei. Mojtaba Khamenei. Okay, fine. The son. Is he more moderate? Is he more radical? And if we take out that guy, who comes after him? What is the line of succession here?
See, folks, this is where the armchair of generals and the think tank titans always trip up. They draw up these elaborate war plans on whiteboards, moving digital pieces around like it's a game of Risk, but they completely ignore the human element. Who's next is not just a trivia question. It's the entire future of a nation of 80 million people. Do these strategists genuinely believe that if you just take out the current leadership, a perfectly aligned pro-Western democratic regime will magically sprout up from the ashes? That's like saying if you remove the engine from a car, it suddenly becomes a self-driving Tesla. It's utterly delusional, folks. We all know it. History is littered with examples of power vacuums leading to worse, more radical, and more unstable outcomes. Just look at Libya, Iraq, or even Afghanistan. We've been down this road so many times, yet we keep pretending this time will be different. Bullshit, it will not. It's not just naive, it's dangerously irresponsible, and it's always American blood and treasure that pays the ultimate price for their intellectual laziness.
I hadn't seen that video before, and my head just exploded because I don't think anybody predicted that Ali Khamenei's son would end up being his successor, because the now assassinated supreme leader had said that he was against, dynastic rule, and was against the idea of one of his sons doing this. That's amazing, Cenk. Anyway, wow.
Yeah, so look, two things about that. Number one is there's reports that Israel purposely took out all of the 49 top leaders, not just because Ayatollah was in there and not just because most of the regime was in there. That was intentional and everyone acknowledges that. But also because there was 2 or 3 guys in the room that America was thinking of using to replace Khamenei, like we did with Maduro in Venezuela. But if you kill those guys, then they're gonna go with Khamenei's son, which is gonna extend the war until they get what they actually desire, which is regime change.
Hold on a minute, folks. So the claim here is that Israel purposely eliminated the moderate options for secession? If that's true, it's not just a strategic misstep. It's a calculated move to ensure maximum chaos and prolong a conflict that America, will inevitably get dragged into. It's like playing chess, but instead of trying to win, you're just trying to knock over all the pieces and then blame the board for being messy. This isn't about security, it's about control, or perhaps maybe just a very twisted form of divide and conquer. If you truly wanted stability, you'd foster moderate alternatives, not incarcerate them. This sounds less like a defense strategy and more like setting the stage for a never-ending conflict that serves a very specific and frankly self-serving agenda. And guess who gets to clean up this mess? Yep, you got it. You guessed it right. Uncle Sam, with his wallet open and his sons and daughters on the front line.
And as you're going to see in this story, we'll talk a little bit about how Netanyahu has now said that he's doing this so that Israel can be the sole regional superpower and maybe even a global superpower. That's what this war is about. And then I want to tell you about the different layers of regime change that they want and need before they let America off the hook. But until then, as you're going to see, we're going to pay a super heavy price, including financially.
Yeah, and look, before we even get to that Netanyahu video where he again says what's supposed to be the quiet part out loud, which is what the Israelis do on a regular basis, I just want to understand for my detractors: is Netanyahu anti-Semitic? Because when I merely point out what the Israelis say they're going to do because they say they're going to do it, I get called anti-Semite. It's amazing. But anyway, let's move on with what's going on in Iran. So an anonymous source spoke to Reuters and said the following: a multitude of intelligence reports provide consistent analysis that the regime is not in danger of collapse and retains control of the Iranian public. Because look, I mean, just think about this in your own terms, my fellow Americans watching this right now. Even if you loathe our government, which I do, I loathe our government, okay? Would I be okay with a foreign power coming in and attempting to topple our government and replace it with a puppet government? No, I would not be okay with that. And what that does is it galvanizes the population around the regime. But the Israelis are morons, so they, love these unforced errors. Further, the US intelligence report indicates that the IRGC and the interim leaders who assumed power after Khamenei's death retained control of the country. There are no protests, there's no civil unrest. In fact, we've seen a massive crowd that gathered in order to celebrate the naming of Mojtaba Khamenei as the new supreme leader. Now, President Donald Trump has, of course, been incredibly inconsistent, flip-flopping on whether or not regime change is the real objective and goal for the United States. But that's not the case with the Israeli government, who absolutely demands the toppling of the Iranian regime. And whether the regime gets replaced with a democratic system or a good leader, they don't care. They're perfectly happy to see the country fall to anarchy, ruin, instability. They'd love to see another Syria or Libya, because it'll help them with what their main goal is, which is expanding their territory. Now, an anonymous Israeli official spoke to Reuters and said this: Israeli officials in closed discussions also have acknowledged there is no certainty the war will lead to the clerical government's collapse. But here's the catch: Israel has no intention of allowing any remnants of the former government to stay intact, said a fourth source familiar with the matter. It would likely require a ground offensive that would allow people inside Iran to safely protest in the streets, said a source. So in other words, the US, as we know, and we've known from the very beginning, we don't really have a clear objective. And it's become increasingly clear to me that Trump realizes that he got trapped and fooled into a trap and now wants to end the war but doesn't know how. We also know that Israel's objective is impossible without ground troops. And I was on Al Arabia yesterday, Cenk. There was an IDF commander or something like that on the show. And the host asked a good question, which was, you're not going to get regime change unless you have boots on the ground. So would you like to see American boots on the ground? She's not asking me, she's asking the Israeli. I was like, oh, good question. And she skirted the question like crazy because yes, of course they do. Of course they want Americans to risk their lives in Iran to try to topple that regime on behalf of Israel. And according to Tom Ellsworth, who is from the PBD podcast, he sees this as a devastating quagmire. That's what we're running toward. Take a look.
Bingo. Give the man a prize. This is the quiet part that never supposed to be said out loud, but everyone with an ounce of common sense knows it's true. When you hear these allies talk about regime change, about needing boots on the ground, what they really mean is America boots on the ground. They want our kids, our resources, our blood spilled, all for their regional ambitions. It's the ultimate bait and switch. They push for these conflicts, the fan, the flames, and then when the going gets tough, they expect us to send in the cavalry. Meanwhile, their own citizens are tucked away safely. It's not a partnership. It's a protection racket where America is always the patsy. We're tired of being the world's bouncer, especially when the bar tab is always ours and the friends we're protecting are clearly playing us for fools. It's time to put American interests first for once. We need America first.
Talk about quagmire, and maybe this is pessimistic, but I think we're there. I think we're at the front door of quagmire. And now we got to figure out a way to get out, and there's no good way to get out. And if you back out, think about it. I never thought I'd be saying this, but if he backs out, this could be like a failed retreat from extraction from Afghanistan. This could be like Carter backing out. This is the one country. Cheney said it's all about Iran. It's not Iraq. It's going to be about Iran. Even Cheney said that when he was getting the president to look for weapons of mass destructions that were not there in Iraq. Everybody has looked at Iran and said, this is the guy. It's like for 20 years, this is Muhammad Ali, and everybody wanted to get to him. And it wasn't until age got to Ali that he ever lost. And so this is just drives me a little nuts. I think we're at the, I mean, maybe this is pessimistic, Pat, but I think we're at the front door of quagmire.
Donald Trump needs to pull American troops out of that region. He needs to end this, or at least the US involvement in it. And Netanyahu says that he's going to keep the war going. That's great. Handle it on your own. Handle that, and Lebanon, and Gaza, and all the other neighbors that you're terrorizing. Handle all that on your own. We're done. That would be the winning strategy at this point for Donald Trump. But something tells me that they won't let him pursue that strategy. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, so only one thing you said that I disagree with. You said the Israelis are morons. No way, they're not at all morons. They think America are suckers. So
well, we are.
Yeah,
we are. I agree with you on that. But they are morons. Do you think anything they've done is going to keep Israelis safe?
No, but that's not
Israelis
their
are going
objective.
into shelters, underground shelters, multiple times a day. You guys enjoying that? You think you're more safe? Have you defeated Hamas?
No, but Anna,
How many more extremists have been reproduced by the Israeli regime? They're never going to be safe.
No, but that's for regular Jewish folks, Israelis, etc. The Israeli government doesn't care about keeping Israelis safe at all. They care about land acquisition in Greater Israel. So do they know they're endangering Israelis by starting another giant war? Of course they know. Do they know that about October 7th? They literally told us, yeah, we knew about October 7th, and they didn't take any precautions. Did they know that all of these wars could endanger Israel and there would be rockets fired? Of course they knew. They did it on purpose. And then, by the way, the more they scare not just Israeli citizens, but Jews across the world, the better it is for them, because then American Jews, European Jews, instead of sending more money, oh my God. Larry Ellison sends $16 million to the IDF as a charity. And he's not the only one, tons of people do it. Oh my God, kill more Palestinians, kill more Lebanese, kill more Iranians. Here's more money, here's more money. Why? Because, oh my God, I'm so scared they're gonna kill us all. No, the Israeli government does all of that to scare those people so that they get more money, more power, they could do more war and take more land. So now that brings us to Iran. So there are layers of regime destruction and collapse that Israel has planned. But you can't do even the first layer without ground troops. Because Iran, the Revolutionary Guard, guys, has a giant infrastructure throughout the entire country, like we do with our military and our police. Imagine trying to take out our entire military and all of our police when you invade America, as an example, right? Do you know how difficult that would be? That would be extraordinarily difficult in any country, right? So you think Iran doesn't have an infrastructure of military and police? Of course they do. And will they resist? Of course they're going to resist, and they are resisting. So now we have to go through that entire, at a bare minimum, 1 million Iran Revolutionary Guard, let alone the entire military, let alone all the cops, let alone the citizens who are going to be radicalized when their family members are killed by Israel and unfortunately America. So Israel knows all of this. That's why they need to reel you in little bit by little bit. Oh, we're doing it because nukes, oh, they're gonna kill you with the weapons of mass destruction. The same exact horse crap that they fed the American people through the collaborators in the American media about the Iraq war. Oh, look, Israel's such a great ally. We give you intelligence all the time. Oh, really? What's the intelligence? Is it to attack America? No, it's fake intelligence telling you that these guys have weapons of mass destruction.
Girls' school? That an elementary school is a military target that the United States should bomb? Is that the kind of intelligence Israel supplies the United States? These are questions that should be asked. Okay, the US is now culpable, responsible for slaughtering 175 people at a girls' elementary school in Manab, Iraq. Where did we get the bad intel from?
Yeah, look, where do we get all of our bad intel from? Israel. And when you ask them, hey, you're a special ally, you've now robbed me of over $300 billion.
Whoa, 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 hold your horses. This is a bombshell claim right here. Accusing a supposed ally of knowingly providing bad intelligence that leads to American military blunders and the deaths of innocent civilians? If that's true, we're not just talking about a strategic disagreement. We're talking about a fundamental betrayal of trust on a scale that should send shivers down every American spine. And then, to add to insult to injury, we're footing the bill for their adventures to the tune of hundreds of billions, even trillions, while our own infrastructure crumbles and our own citizens struggle. It's like your best friend convincing you to rob a bank, then giving you a faulty map, letting you get caught, and then sending you a bill for the bullet holes in their getaway car. This isn't an ally behavior, it's parasitic. And it's high time America wakes up to the fact that some of our friends are actually our biggest financial and strategic liabilities.
You've made me pay $8 trillion on the global war on Israel's neighbors. You now have forced us into another war, which you're about to find out is costing us $2 billion a day. A day. We borrow from China. We have to pay interest to China for the rest of our lives because precious Israel can't pay for its own wars. Slaughterhouse after slaughterhouse. Wait till you get to later in the show when we show you the new slaughterhouse they've opened up in Lebanon. And all those disgusting crimes against humanity lumped on America's shoulders. You have to pay for it. Israel's not gonna send any ground troops to fight against 1 million Iranians? No. Americans, back to the meat grinder, back to the Middle East. You use your troops, not precious Israeli troops. No, Israelis are worth 1 million other people, right? So one more thing, Anna, you read there, the Israelis' plan is to kill what, about 1 million Iranian Revolutionary Guard until there are no more remnants of the regime.
I need them to understand something.
How many people are going to kill and how much is it going to cost to kill all the remnants of the regime until Israel is satisfied with their bloodlust? And now they've done another genocide in Iran. Then they say, okay, maybe we'll let America off the hook. And they won't, as they've announced, Turkey's next.
So let me understand something. All of these Arab countries and Muslim majority countries that are on their knees, their leadership is on their knees to Israel and the United States. Did that pay off for you? Hey, you Gulf countries who thought, we'll be safe as long as we play nice with Israel. Did that work out for you? Did abandoning the Palestinian people for a genocidal state work out well for you?
All right, folks, that's a wild ride, wasn't it? From the murky waters of regime change to the staggering cost of misguided alliances. It's clear there's more going on than meets the eye. The narrative we've fed often masks a much darker, more self-serving agenda, and it's American taxpayers and soldiers who constantly pay the highest price. So tell me, what do you think? Are these claims just cynical takes, or is there a dangerous truth bubbling behind and beneath the surface of our foreign policy? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, Subscribe to the channel for more unvarnished truth, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into political swamp. Until next time, stay informed and always question the narrative. And as always, stay vigilant, patriots. Stay vigilant.